Welcome to another episode of Prepper Talk Radio, Radio for the Ready-Minded, with your hosts, Scott, Shane, and Paris. We are here tonight in a Ready-Minded Roundup. We're going to do a little bit of a cornucopia of things. When we thought of a topic for today, we're like, what about this? What about this? What about this? We're like, you know what? Let's just do it all. So we're going to have some fun in our conversation tonight. We definitely want to make sure that you go to our website, preppertalkradio.com. Across the top, you'll see bunch of resources. Make sure you check out our recommendations. Make sure that you use those recommendations to get prepared. They will help support the show, and they will get you better prepared with a discount. More often than not, if you go click anywhere in there, use the code Prepper Talk, you'll get a discount on any of those things. And we're really excited about a new one that we're looking at. We've gotten involved with Prepper Talk Radio preppertalkradio.com/good life. Where it talks a little bit about some great products and services and things that I'm actually already using, was already buying, but the prices were so good, I had to try them out and ended up saving a couple $100 actually a month. And I'm doing it. I did a video on it on my financial channel. So if you want to go check that out, you'll see that over there. But welcome to the show. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And we are excited to bring to you our live Prepper Talk Radio show. So if those of you are listening later, we definitely want to remind you to come Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. We're live. We'd love to have you as part of the conversation. We've got some great people already logged in and making comments. So here we go.
I'm just excited to be here. As you guys know, the podcast is my favorite time of the week. I get to hang out with you guys, and I get to hang out with everybody else. And Utah, like, this is a King's brand, King's camo, hat. I switched it I was wearing my Mav Tough hat, which if you're on TikTok, you know what Mav Tough is. Hopefully great family business supporting their kid. But yeah, this episode is fun for me because we are taking everything that comes in on our feeds to turn it into content. And it's been requested a number of times, and so we do it every once in a while. WebDad reminded me of it recently, and so we're doing that. We're also streaming right now on my TikTok. So I got cameras everywhere. We're doing this. So if you guys have questions, specific things you have concerns about in the world, if you want to know what we should do on certain things, or if you have guidance that we just haven't covered that you want talked about, throw it at us. All questions will be answered, not necessarily in the order they were received, because we're all looking like this everywhere. But we're going to cover you on this. This is going to be fun.
Well, hey, I can get us kicked off with a hot topic.
Did you go shopping with your daughter? Like, what's going on? Hot topic?
So today, May 7th, what's happening today? Anybody know? Anybody put it in the chat here. What is happening May 7th?
Well, the Fed met today. I don't know if that's what you mean.
Well, no, that's true. No, that's not what I was referring to. But yeah, no change in interest rates. They're not raising. They're not lowering them. May 7th. Come on, guys. You got to know. This is a big one. We've been waiting for this one for 20 years. Come on. Let me see it in the chat or something here. Come on, guys.
May 7th? Is it some kind of Back to the Future reference?
Oh, there we go. WebDog got it. WebDog knows what I'm talking about. Real ID.
Oh, Real ID. Holy snow.
You guys know what Real ID is? Let's see it. Grab my
if you
ID
fly
here.
Now, if you want, domestically or internationally, if you want to fly, you have to have a Real ID or passport, right?
Just to get on any flight. Yeah. So Real ID, I'll show you my ID here. I had no idea that I actually had a Real ID. See this? Let's see if I can show you. See that little star right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this, right? In my Utah driver license. I didn't ask for this. This is the Utah driver license is Real ID compliant. And, I remember the last time I went in to get my picture, to renew, you can't smile. I had to take my glasses off. That was new. Apparently that's all part of the federal requirements. It's not a state thing. This is a federal thing, which the feds have no.
So mine has a star too. That means I'm good.
Yeah, it's Real ID compliant. Anything with that star. Do you know where that star came from? Come on, guys. Do you know where that star came from? No. Well, no. It actually Nazi Germany. Anyway, I'll just say that briefly.
The yellow star, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, I didn't ask for this. I had no idea until, in the past couple of months. But yeah, this is a federal program driven, back in 2005. They said, okay, everybody's got to have this national ID. It's at least standardized to meet all the national requirements. And that's not up to the Fed. That's up to each individual state. Right. So, and of course, where's this going next? Everybody thinks, oh, this is no big deal. Of course, I didn't think anything about it because I didn't ask for it. Wasn't given the option to opt out or anything. I don't even know if that's even possible. And so now I've got this compliant ID that, I don't even want to go any further. It's just leading us down toward, a truly digital ID, which is, pure evil. It's meant for control. And so it's just another step to normalize it. Right.
They're still working toward that whole digital currency and be controlling everybody. I'll reference it again, but Tucker Carlson had Catherine Fitz on his show, and she broke it down. I got about 30 minutes in to an hour and a change conversation, almost 2-hour conversation. So I still need to finish it, but she was just like, yeah, they still have all the plans. In fact, they're not even hiding it anymore. They're basically coming out and saying the reason why we want to do this is so that we can control people more effectively. It's just,
how are we not cattle? We're basically the same. We're treated like cattle. If you're an elite, and by elite I mean the people born into the system where they're handpicked for government officials and for they don't even have to be royal. It's just this weird royal system of, and I'm going to throw the Kennedys in there because they're part of that group, right? They're easily picked in for Senate positions. They're easily picked in for world leadership. Bill Gates and all those guys, like, they have special privileges that we don't have now, but we will have even less in the future.
Yeah.
And this whole Real ID, it's absolutely part of the process. You don't even have to have your ID on you for a stop because everything's digital now. They can pull you up by your name and your address or your phone number. So it's like, what's even the point? Eventually they're going to have a scanner, do a retinal scan, do a barcode in your buck tooth. Like, hey guys, like they'll figure out somewhere to put it. Could be on your wrist, could be in your hand.
I haven't flown for years on purpose. I understand that's even part of the process where they do retinal scans or they'll scan your face. And that's one of the reasons why they make you take the glasses off, take your hat off. Not smiling is so that your face can be scanned for their digital IDs and so forth. So it's it's all sneaky, and I don't like it.
Well, also it's like, so in the state of Utah, I used to be a real estate agent, and I've thought about getting my license again. And I look at the process, and they require fingerprinting.
Yep.
You have to go in and submit your fingerprinting with your licensing.
Yep.
And so there's all these added layers of, we want more and more of your information, and we give you no reason for it other than we just want it. And you have to give it to us if you want these types of jobs, right? If you want to live in society, you have to do it. California is the leader on that. But yeah, Real ID is just the first big domino to go nationally, I think, to really make that.
Well, I know that the new Salt Lake International Airport has facial recognition all through it.
Yeah,
I haven't even set foot in there since it was built, and I will do my best to avoid it personally. So, but hey, look, here's my face. It's not like
even right now. I've been a lot of these airports are up in arms because, I don't know what's going on, but several people were like, our flight. I was just reading in a Facebook group I'm in, and somebody asking for advice on what to do, and they were supposed to go international on a trip, and they booked it 2 months in advance, and they get there and it was delayed or canceled or something went wrong, and so they got them on another flight, and then so that like an 18-hour flight ends up being like 3-day journey just to get to their destination because the airport system, the airlines are not paying attention. Like, it's all. And she unfortunately was gluten intolerant, and she's like, how do I can't eat on any of the places they sent me. None of the planes have food. They're like, you have to give us 24 hours notice. Like, we did, and you canceled it, and you gave me a whole new plane. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. So again, if you're going to be traveling, one, have the real ID, and two, make sure you have food that you can eat. Especially if you've got some of those considerations with like special things, because you may not make it to your destination according to the schedule that you thought you were going to make it in.
Right. Well, it's completely unconstitutional for the federal government to require us to present ID, especially a national ID. That's what a passport's for, right? If you want to travel and you need ID, that's why they issue a passport. So it may still be at this point, you may be able to opt out of getting that driver license with that star on it, indicating what type of individual you actually are, right? That you're a sheep, essentially. Anyway, I'll shut up.
It's funny in the chat. WebDad brought up the Walmart camera system is live and available for certain agencies. If I remember right, it was discovered a few years ago. Walmart's UPC or barcode scanning database system is being used to track purchases through 3-letter agencies already, tracking us for their data collection, right? And they're also using Walmart's system for international trade and sales of things that don't even go through Walmart. So I got to find the article on that, but I was just like, wait, what? Like if you knew how to search for it, you could find things like Uzis and rocket launchers and, armored vehicles. And I'm like, wait, what? Maybe I'll ask AI to find it for me, but maybe I won't. It's interesting though, because in our current state of affairs, did anyone think this is where we would be back 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
No way, man.
I didn't.
It's, what's funny is most Americans back in the day were like, no, we don't want to have all this stuff because we don't want the government spying on us. And now everybody's like, hey, I got a new cell phone. I'm taking a selfie. And it's like, they just were smart enough to realize they can't do a full frontal assault. So we're going to sneak in and do it over time, slowly, and then we'll have everybody. And you know what? It's crazy because I'm awake to it now, but it's like, how do you get out of it? Like, once you're in it, like there's
surveillance everywhere.
Yeah, you can't, like, I don't know. It's just like, wow. I actually went into a pawn shop recently, and I was asking the guy, I was like, hey, do you, like, I heard that pawn shops are a great place to buy guns and gun equipment and whatnot. And he said, sure is. And I said, I would love to look at your inventory. And then I asked him, I said, do you guys happen to take goldbacks here? The guy got totally triggered. He's like, goldbacks are a scam. Goldbacks are the worst thing ever. I'm like, okay, clearly you're triggered. And I asked the wrong question, but they're not a scam. They're legit, but let's change the subject. But dude couldn't let it go. And he actually took a picture of me and put it on Facebook and sent it to his buddies saying, this is your local goldback scammer. So be aware of him. And I'm like, bro, I just walked into the pawn shop to see what they had as their inventory, and dude was already
gold.
Yeah, he already plastered me all over. I'm like, tell me you're triggered without telling me you're triggered.
Well, I think everyone's also just so paranoid. I mean, we all are. Like I am. I'm like, we're all just like, is this person legit, or are they trying to screw me over? Right? Because that's what we've been fed by media. Think about this. 1984 is when the Terminator came out.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, no way any of that's ever going to be available. And now they've got robo dogs being trained to hunt down people, right, by DARPA and on all these other agencies. Like,
and they have.
How is that any different?
And they also now have human companions, quotes,
right?
Mm-hmm. Human companion dolls, and they're fully everywhere. Automated.
Yeah. Well, what you had said, Paris, and then WebDad also said here is, you can still fly without real ID right now, but extra steps are required, and that's the whole catch right there. Is they want to make it simple, they want to make it convenient for you to get the real ID. Otherwise, you got to go through these extra steps because we don't know who you are, right? You got to prove to us who you are, and next it'll be the internet, right? If you want to get on the internet, we can't trust you. You have to have your digital ID in order to get on the internet. we'll let you do it for now, but you got to go through jump through some hoops. We're going to make it difficult for you to get access to the internet to prove who you are. I mean, that's already happening. How many times you get on, you put your password in and say, oh, we have to verify who you are. And so we're going to send you this code on your phone. And then you have to put that code in. And then they're just making it very difficult and painful for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just give me the digital ID. And so I can put my fingerprint on here and I'm logged in, right? That's where all this is going.
They're going to want you to do all that so you can't catfish anybody. That's what they're going to tell you. But the reality is they want to be able to track everything you're doing. Like they already are, but now it'll complete the circle of data.
Yeah, well, most of those dudes are catfishing us already anyways. So it's like, Utah Mike.
Awesome. Well, it's funny how much technology. I remember watching, I don't even know what it's called, but like the bot wars, like they'd have two little robots go into the ring and only one would come out, and they still have those things. And I thought, wow, this is such cool technology. And that was after I saw Terminator. And now like the technology in those things has improved quite a bit. Like they can flip the other robot over and destroy it pretty fast. And just imagine a robo-dog or some other type of mechanized device coming at you with saw blades in its shoulders, spinning, and like there's no end to the insanity of what can be created at this point. And somebody's probably 3D printing it somewhere in their backyard.
So Scott, you brought up another topic in our text. We're texting all the time, and I had not heard about it. You want to mention that, Scott? You remember what I'm talking about?
The blue rain in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, so the news story, this is actually pretty phenomenal. So the news story about this, so there's quite a few videos that came up. There, blue rain in Texas. And one of the news stories, this guy's like, he was fishing and he's like, I'm thirsty. And he's like, oh, it's just rainwater. And he scooped it up and drank it. And he had to put himself away because he started having like full on hallucinations and was like scared to death that these things were real. And I can't remember if it was like he was hallucinating like attack rabbits or something weird and like fictional characters chasing him around. And so he was on his boat. He went underneath and just tried to put himself to sleep. And he was just racked with like craziness for, I think it was 24 hours. But there's other ones where people are like, what is this? And it had a weird feel when they touched it. It had a weird smell. And they're like, this is the whole, like, we're altering weather. This is weather modification. I'm like, dude, this is way more than weather modification.
Yeah.
If it's blue, like, and it's not Windex, it's way worse.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if dude's having psychotic events, like that scares me. But it's not the first, and it's definitely not going to be the last.
Putting narcotics in the clouds,
right?
A little psilocybin or something.
Could just be, blue mushrooms. I don't know. The other thought I had was, okay, now what's that going to do? Because there's a blue, formerly fabric dye, now one of the most tested medical products that's in circulation now, called methylene blue, that everyone's taking. And now is that going to make people think, oh crud, is this a methylene blue chemical as well coming from the sky? Is that methylene blue up there? Like, we can be so easily misled with the media that it can be completely a crapshoot of what can I trust.
Yeah.
Right. And what's real and what's not real. When the first thing I saw about the blue rain, I was like, that's so BS. There's no way. And then all of a sudden I saw 5 more from different sources and I'm like, hold up. So then I went and searched it and found the story of crazy boater man and his shenanigans. And if I had known we were going to bring that up in the topic, I would have brought it back up so I could read it before. But yeah, the dude was legit freaked out. And now he's afraid of anything
coming from the sky,
but also anything in his water supply. He's like, how is that not getting into our water supply?
It's right? That's legit. Because the rainwater got to have runoff.
And then another thought was, okay, what if that blue water in the atmosphere helps with Project Bluebeam to create more realistic sky phenomenon to control and corrupt us even more and control us. So it's just really interesting to see, okay, what else is going to happen this year. My 2025 bingo card, none of the things I was guessing are happening. It's all different stuff I hadn't been thinking of, like the tariff wars. Didn't expect that before. Now it's like, what in the total, what? It's weird.
Well, what was funny is Jerome Powell today, and not to bring this up too much, but Jerome Powell today said because of stagflation, there's a lot in the economy of stagging, and there's a lot of in the economy that's inflating. So stagflation is real, and so they were fighting back and forth whether they should lower the rate, increase the rate. What are they going to do? And Powell said that Trump has been telling him that we need to curb inflation, and then Powell in his meeting said, and part of the reason why we're having inflation is because of the tariffs. And so he was like, he basically threw a jab out against what Trump was doing. And it was kind of funny. But anyways, that was, you're right. Like I read the scriptures, and I read, I've had a lot of thoughts and feelings about what's supposed to happen. And then I look in the news, and it's like it's like totally different than what I thought. And so you're right, dude, the bingo card is not, I got the wrong bingo card, or I'm playing the wrong game. Like, I don't know, because you're right. Like, same with me. Like, I did not predict so much of the stuff that's happening.
Well, isn't there a scripture that says that even the waters will be poisoned in the heavens and on the earth?
I know that there's one that talks about how the fishes, half of the sea will die. The creatures in the sea will die. So there's definitely poison in the water from that. But
okay, so maybe there's some other weird prophecy thing that I read somewhere, but I that keeps coming into mind as I hear more and more about the cloud seeding and hear more and more about these types of things. The sky is being poisoned, right? And every time it rains, it brings those poisons down, which is then poisoning our lawns, our harvesting areas, our farmlands. So then it's like, okay, how do I protect my food production? Like, it's going to come a time where you're going to have filtered water coming into a complete, perfect little biodome of your own to keep everything safe and pure. Like, am I Pauly Shore in that movie? I hope not. I hope I'm a little more intelligent than that, but is that where we're headed?
It's almost like if they're going to keep doing that stuff to the skies, how do we trust anything in our ground from the rain? We've had a lot of rain in Utah this last week. It's interesting because it's like, wait, I was just saying to my wife the other day, I was like, isn't it April showers bring May flowers? What does May showers bring? So because we actually had snow in April, which was weird, but then we also had a lot of rain the last week. So today was sunny, which was nice. But there's like, what's coming down? What's going to be in my ground when I go out and start growing things?
Yeah. And you'd mentioned Catherine Austin Fitts. Did you see her latest interview with Tucker Carlson?
No, I'm about 30 minutes in on that one.
Well, she's talking about 21 trillion spent on underground cities and such. Okay. And I've always held her in very high regard. She's always been spot on with everything. And but I see this and I really question what the heck she's talking about, because and I know that especially on a high profile interview like that, right, with Tucker Carlson, because I can see her saying that, kind of behind the scenes, kind of in her own podcast or something like that. But to Tucker Carlson, that's super high profile. So my first thought was, okay, she's not that big of an individual to be on that big of a podcast. She, and she's great, but after that, I'm beginning to really start to question everything and everybody. Like you said, Parrish, I don't trust anyone anymore what comes out of their lips. I've got some specific examples, but I'll refrain. But it just seems that, and I don't even know the right words to use, other than everything is programming. Everything we see in front of us, everything that is on any kind of social media or TV or channel or anything where there's any kind of money backing it. All these podcasters or they're low budget that are nobody. I trust their content a lot more than I see anybody else out there who's making money on this, right? Who's there's nothing wrong with that. Let me say that. But a lot of these these large podcasts, some of them make a lot of freaking money, and I won't name some of them because then we might get a strike or something. But some that have been very popular, especially on the right, certain individuals protecting certain countries and so forth, and having their agendas being everything is just messed up. Everything is just it's over the top. And
well, another part of that is
everything.
I think something to go along with that, Shane, is that, when you see a podcast go from 0 to bajillion in 6 months, you're like,
Sean Ryan,
we've been after this for 3 years and we're still, I mean, of course, I guess we don't have the money to throw at it.
This December, 10 years this December.
Minus a 3-year break.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I meant. We've been
doing
it.
Still, 3 full-time.
Since we rebooted, we've done over 300 episodes.
Yeah, we're about to hit number 500 soon.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some cool giveaways when that happens. So you guys make sure you're following, that you like, that you subscribe, and if you don't remember to do all those things, question those memories, because there are reports that have come out since 2024 talking about memory modification. Have you guys heard about this? It's
I
kind
did
of going around the
see
circles
something
again
on the other day. Yeah.
So it's even talked about on Wikipedia that they've been doing it since the 1990s. They've actually identified that they can implant false memories into people, and they can also create false memories. And they've been using it for years for convictions.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like
court cases and such. Yeah.
If you don't remember to like and subscribe, that's probably why. It's because you've been implanted a false memory to not like and subscribe.
Somebody remote viewed you and implanted a memory.
I think about that. I'd like to learn to do that, although I know it's kind of witchcraft, so I have refrained from that. But it would be nice to know the truth about a lot of those things, one way or another, right? But another thing that kind of that really stood out to me the other day is we had a small earthquake. Did you feel it, Paris?
I did.
A couple nights ago, it was like at midnight. It's only 3.9. It was maybe 20 miles from here. I didn't feel it. I was asleep, but the family did. A lot of people did. It was of course quite a bit of talk. But the day after that, I saw this channel about space weather. Well, what is it? I didn't write it down here. I was going to share that with you guys. But I shared that with you. It was a geo alert about the Schumann resonance, which is kind of the vibrations the Earth puts out, especially earthquakes and all of the frequencies that earthquakes and seismic movements put off. There are people that measure that and quantify it and use it to predict earthquakes and such. And one podcast I watched mentioned that this resonance had gone off the chart. And there's a bunch of different frequencies and such, but it just absolutely gone off the chart. And then that feed that I think it's somewhere in the over in Europe, that some station that reports this, it went blank. It all turned off. And now the next day the data is gone, but it was much higher than even some of the largest earthquakes. I'm talking about 8 point something plus earthquakes. So just very high Schumann resonance in the different frequencies. And of course, I don't know much about this, but it really, that between the two, when I felt that earthquake, you get your kind of little tingle against spidey sense, or which I've kind of mentioned before, which is, I'd like to say is inspiration, right? It's something, right? Intuition, whatever you want to call it. And then I see this warning about, potentially this could be a very good predictor for coming earthquakes, and very, very large earthquakes. And those mainly happen across, the Ring of Fire and maybe the Cascadia fault zone up there where they're very, very active.
You shared that video with us, Shane, and I watched.
I'll try and find it and post it here. Let me do that here.
I shared several minutes of it. I watched several minutes of it, and it was like, this guy was saying that the last time it was off the charts like this, there was a big 8 point something in India, and then there was the time before that there was another big one in China, somewhere else in the world. And he says, we don't know where it's going to hit, but we just know that whenever we see this kind of resonance manifesting off the charts, there's going to be a huge one somewhere. and it's usually within a few days of it. So I haven't heard anything huge go off. So maybe they deleted the data because they were doing a test, and they're like, "Shoot, that guy reported it. Let's let's wipe the."
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know if you've seen the joke. There's another meme as well. It's like, have you ever walked into a room and you can't remember why you're there, and you're just standing there? Maybe that's because you met one of the men in black and you saw an alien and you shouldn't have, and so they memory wiped you, and so who knows? That's a joke, but who knows nowadays? But anyways, the point is that maybe they wiped all that data because they didn't want anybody to see it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Or to create a false sense of, hey, this guy's no longer trustworthy anymore, right? To devalue his intellectual information.
Yeah, for sure. But then didn't you mention, Shane, there was a huge coronal hole facing the Earth too now?
Well, that's been also part of this discussion. I just posted that in the chat for this for that channel, is that there large coronal hole has been around 8 times, been around the sun 8 times, and the sun's been pretty calm, but with the coronal holes, a lot of plasma and other electromagnetic energy comes our way, and that the Earth's electromagnetic field is very weak. And we want, of course, we always talk about suspicious observers. Our buddy Ben over there, he runs a heck of a channel. He's a super smart guy, and a large filament just broke off. I think today it wasn't coming at the Earth, but there's another one ready to release, and just these huge coronal holes. I mean, they're just larger than normal by far. So just a lot of interesting things going on. Again, kind of going back to Catherine Austin Fitts. What is the agenda? Why is this being shared on this platform? Again, all the world's a stage. It's being shared for some reason, and part of it's to confuse us, part of it's to traumatize us, and it's working. I tell you, it's working, and that prepping fatigue really fits in. Go ahead. Oh yeah, thank you.
No, I was going to say that reminds me. I don't know if you guys saw I shared I think I was on Facebook that I shared in Facebook chat with you guys about this portable EMP device, and it was a portable device that was supposed to be for the military to use against foreign militaries' drone attacks. So what this device does is that you put it where you think a drone attack might be coming, and then it will put out a signal. It will identify where the drones are, and then it will send another signal to EMP, like destroy those drones so they fall out of the sky. And I'm just like, wait a minute, what are the other uses potentially? If it gets into the wrong hands, like what are the other uses? Like, I think it's already in the wrong hands, just between you and me. But the point is it was a portable EMP device. What if they put one of those in a city and just hit the button, and before you know it, now we don't need a nuclear bomb going off 100 yards or a couple miles above anywhere. They could just take these portable EMPs and just synchronize them and just hit the button and go. And so I was like, wait a minute, what are the nefarious purposes for this device?
Well, like the movie Ocean's 11, right? The pinch, I think that's what they call it. And so I think those things have been around for an awful long time. Obviously, probably getting better and smaller and easier to move around. But yeah, good luck getting your hands on anything like that to protect yourself from any kind of drone swarm.
Well, it's interesting because I saw I can't remember where it was, but there was actually armed guards with anti-drone rifles, signal interfering rifles. So basically they would shoot some type of data beam that would actually disrupt all signals and crash the drone. And there's a company out there called Drone Shield that has a similar technology. But they were saying those ones could create a focused EMP beam. And so I'm trying to find it now, but it's interesting because there's so many different pieces of technology hitting the market all the time that it's like, okay, did I see what I saw, and can I find it again? And that's like the hardest thing to do anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. So here's another thing that was not, I don't think, on anybody's bingo's card, although it might have been. India and Pakistan at war. Have you heard that?
Well, I saw that funny meme where they opened the gate, and I don't know if you saw that. There's a video of I don't know if it's Pakistan and India, but it says it's a gate that opens between the two countries, supposedly a gate between the two countries, and they had like they were like the guards at the gate on either side of the border were like flipping each other off or something. And so they were doing these high stepping marches, and they're like, oh man, it must be heating up over there between Pakistan and India. And
that could be China and India as well.
It could be. Yeah. It was a funny video. I just read the caption, and I didn't really do any research into it, but yeah, dude, that's crazy if they're at war.
Yeah. Just the particular region, of course, that escapes my memory at the moment, that's been disputed by Pakistan, India, and China. And they've been at it, for decades over there. But India launched some rockets into Pakistan. Pakistan supposedly shot down some jets, Indian fighter jets or something. And so, Indian cut off water, like Mike said here. India cut off water to northern Pakistan because there was a big terrorist attack in this region. Why can't I remember it? Maybe somebody will put it in the chat. And 26 Indian civilians were killed, and so India blamed it on Pakistan, and then they cut off water, which is a declaration of war. Absolutely cut off somebody's water because it flows downhill through.
Is it the Kashmir region?
Yes, that's it. Yep.
Okay.
That's correct. Yep.
Kashmir. Kashmir.
I guess that's kind of a tourist destination. I don't know. Never wanted to go there, but. Just
speaking of tourist destinations, I'm gonna completely hijack. Yes, thank you. Right, thank you, WebDad. I've been trying to explain what Alcatraz is to my daughter. She's 8, and she's like, "What's Alcatraz?" Because she saw the news, and I'm like, "Okay, so Alcatraz used to be this prison." She's like, "Why is he opening it again? Are there more bad guys?" And I'm like, "There's always more bad guys, apparently." But what do you guys think? Is it a distraction? Do you think it's a legit thing?
I haven't even heard anything on that.
I thought that I heard that he was going to put some of the criminals that had crossed over the border illegally over there, and at least that's what somebody said in the comments when I watched it. I just saw the headline that he's thinking about opening it up again, but then I never got a chance to dig in.
Of course, he always says ridiculous stuff. So yeah, I just seen here Trump wants to reopen the prison.
Yeah. So and in one of the reports that I saw, they want to make it 6 times bigger, and they had him on record saying it'll be bigger and better than any Alcatraz before. Any Alcatraz, only Alcatraz before.
Number one, it's an island. There's only so big you can get. Like, what's he gonna do?
A 16-story Alcatraz,
I guess. Build up.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to have my watch. I'm gonna have to have a watch party of The Rock with my daughter. But yeah, is it real? Is it fake? Does it even matter? Who would even go there? Like, I think it's just I think it's definitely a distraction. I think the whole tariff fight and war is more to see what countries are spending their money on and to mess with economies than anything else at this point. Because I don't see it doing any good as it was promised to do for our economy. I think it's more to try to destroy other economies than anything else. I watched a really cool video. I'll have to find it again and share it. I ended up on my buddy Lee sent me this guy's video on what's actually happening in China. And he's an importer. He imports all kinds of clothing, but it shows how a lot of the clothes that we're buying are being now sold all over China because no one's buying it. Like designer pants for 32 cents US. Pants that are costing $200-$300 per pair here. Because we're not buying them all of a sudden, they're selling them for 32 cents. So less than their cost to make it, just to liquidate it, to get rid of it, to try to recoup some money. But he was showing how what's interesting is a lot of companies are spending their money in the U.S. to bring, quote, jobs back. We hear that a lot. Oh, we need more manufacturing brought to the U.S. And he was exposing how that's actually not really true. Yeah, there are more plants coming to the U.S., but they're automated. Case in point, LG. Are you guys familiar with who owns LG? It's a Korean manufacturing company, and they do washers and dryers. They do your fridges, your freezers, and they're smart technologies. And you can sell Whirlpool as a U.S. manufacturer. You can sell a Whirlpool fridge freezer for around $2,500, whereas an LG one, made in Taiwan, they're manufactured and shipped here, mostly in pieces, and then assembled here at a factory, I think in Kentucky. But they're $1,500 to $1,900, and anything that comes from China is getting heavily tariffed. What's interesting is it's only increasing the price by about $12 as far as manufacturing cost, but it's increased the price of the consumer price by about $400 or $500 because they can, quote.
Mm-hmm.
Not for any real reason other than they can. And what's happening is because it's automation of putting these things together, it doesn't require as many bodies. They're using a ton of AI and they're using a ton of robotics to do all this. The Council on the World Economic Forum has awarded them this benchmark status for being so good at doing what they should be doing to give us what we want, but also doing it in a way that's very green. But I'm like, how is this green or how is this beneficial? They're undermining American manufacturing by doing it this way. And guess what? We're giving incentives for more countries to come in and do the same thing.
Interesting.
So we're not going to be creating jobs. I don't think we're going to see any new jobs as more plants are built in the United States. And they're all going to be dropped in areas where it's really low cost for employment anyways. So I just don't see this turning out any good for us. It's just short-term damaging other economies. And short-term making our buying power smaller.
Paris, you had some job numbers? Did you have
those? So I did a little research on different companies. I found did I share the link with you guys? I don't think I did. I just copied and pasted some of the numbers. There's Amazon apparently is set to lay off 27,000 people. Google is set to lay off 12,000. Citigroup is set to lay off 20,000. So there's some significant things happening. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with layoffs, because one of the things that we need to realize is that they happen all the time, and there's something interesting happens when you get laid off from a job. You start to realize how much you were dependent upon that. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go, sometimes there's a little bit of, I'm going to show them for laying me off, and I'm going to go start a business, and I'm going to go be successful. And that ends up boosting the economy, or at least takes away from the hit that otherwise would have happened had you just stayed at home and, twiddled your thumbs and collected unemployment. So sometimes cuts like this can stimulate the economy. Number one. Number two, it definitely opens your eyes to opportunities and say, look, if I can be laid off at any minute and not be ready for it, I need to have a side hustle ready to go. I already need to have something ready up and running, paying me an income. And that's one of the reasons why we started to look for different side hustles that we're involved in. And preppertalkradio.com/good life is where we've landed for now. And it's I think that when you have an economy that is laying people off to cut prices so they can be competitive, that's an indicator of some things are coming. But it also I think is a wake-up call to most of us Americans anyways, to say, you know what, we need to be more self-reliant, self-sufficient. And because if my job can at a moment's notice say, see ya, I need to be ready with some savings. I need to be ready with some alternate incomes. I need to be involved. So I highly recommend that with these numbers, be aware that there's a huge crap ton of people getting laid off, but also, maybe it's time to realize, hey, if I'm not getting laid off, I could have been.
Yeah. Well, and also identifying what are some areas that are safer, right? Absolutely start a side hustle, but also if you're looking for something new, definitely go towards trades.
Yeah.
Because that can't be, I mean, you're not going to have as much competition, because it's like, I think the data that I saw last is that for every 7 guys retiring out of the trades, only 1 is entering.
In electricians, it's 12-1.
Yeah.
Well, that's
My
a high
buddy's an
paying trade.
electrician.
That's a high paying trade.
Yeah, and my next door neighbor, we just have a new guy move in last weekend, and he's a plumber. And he said, I wasn't trained as a plumber. He's in his late 30s. He says, I literally just switched careers about 3 years ago to become a plumber because of the opportunity that was there. What's funny, I didn't know this. I don't know if you guys know, but plumbers and electricians are kind of ops. And ops is the cool kids word for in our day for like opposition, like you have a little bit of rivalry going.
Mm-hmm.
So like back in the day, we say, hey, our rival was so and so, our the arch nemesis was so and so. Now you say it's your ops, right? So my son-in-law, who is an electrician, I was telling about how the guy moved in next door as a plumber. He's like, oh yeah, electrician and plumbers they're our ops. I thought that was kind of funny. So if you become an electrician and you have a plumber friend, try to keep the kindness going.
Well, here's a good point too. Utah Mike put this in. Trades are not as busy as you think. I get calls every day from guys looking for work. Yes and no. It's the charts are that it's in the next 5 years we're going to have a major deficiency. Right now we don't, but in the next 5 years we'll have a major deficiency, which gives you time to learn and do stuff. But yeah, also depending on where you live. Like if you're looking at areas where the housing market's crashing already, trades jobs are going to be hard. There's not going to be enough work in those trades jobs, unless you've gone the commercial routes and you're in the maintenance side of things, right? And so those are also big things to look at. But yeah, like here in Utah, there's guys, I've talked to guys that are in HVAC that are like, I've got out of school, I can't find a job. I'm like, you're not in the right trade for the area that you live, like relocate, which is hard. But that's why I like digital side hustles better than anything else, because I can serve areas that I don't have to be in. And that's why the one that we're promoting that I've been testing for quite a while now and found to be very, very good. I'm very happy with it. You can check it out, preppertalkradio.com/goodlife to learn more. But you've got to do something, right? Other side hustles include like microgreens. You can grow microgreens and sell those to restaurants and to grocery stores, right? When we had the podcast with the rabbit guy, one of his things is he sells his rabbits to restaurant supply companies. And so finding things where there is demand and then servicing that demand, I think is where you're going to be the most successful going forward.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but if you're a tradesman and crap hits the fan, you're going to be a significant part of the prepper community that you're in, because that skill set is transferable to other skills, frankly. I mean, it's not hard when you're a plumber or an electrician and you're building a house next to a guy who's a contractor. Yeah, you're not doing it, but you're learning, you're seeing, you're watching. You're like, you know what? I could probably figure that out. The trades have a lot of crossover. I feel like they do. And maybe I don't know as much as I ought to about it, but it seems to me like if you're doing things like as a financial guy, I don't know every strategy. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. But just because I grew up as a life insurance and a financial coach, and I learned a lot about what it takes to be a CPA and to be a lawyer in certain areas of law. And so I know enough to advise people on what. I had a call today from a friend. It's like, hey, Paris, do you sell this type of life insurance? No. Or pardon me, do you sell homeowners insurance? And I don't. And she said, well, can you answer a question for me? I'm like, it depends on the question. And she asked the question. I'm like, you know what? I've actually dealt with some of that in my dealing with people, and I was able to help. So there's a lot of crossover, I think. Speaking of, I don't know if you guys want to get into, we only have a few minutes left, but I don't know if you guys want to get into the fact that we don't have a pope yet. That's kind of a wild, this whole scenario too. Is that another part of the cornucopia of ideas we're going to share tonight?
Yeah.
Will Pope be the next
pope? He passed away as well, right?
Yeah. Well, they're meeting right now in the conclave.
Well, the day that he passed away What day did he pass away on?
Oh, the day after Easter,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Almost on Easter, just barely after Easter.
I feel like
And
that's
the same day,
significant.
Klaus Schwab stepped down as well.
And I think the new guy's even, I don't know, we'll see.
Oh, he's even worse. Yeah, the president of Nestle.
Well, and Trump said he wouldn't mind being Pope.
Yeah, there's a whole thing right now about
posted his
Trump
own
being the Pope.
pictures.
Well, when they they meet together in the conclave, and then they put up the smoke to see, if it's white, I think, then they've got a pope. If it's black, then they don't have a pope. And I don't know if there's other colors, but apparently for the last couple of days, or at least today, it was black, and so they don't have a pope yet. They're still deliberating.
That's interesting. Yeah, I remember the last conclave. I was just like, what on earth is going on? Like, how does all this work? And how it affects the world. They have a bigger cut in everything than you realize.
Oh yeah,
The Vatican is deeply
especially if
involved.
it's a Jesuit pope.
Especially what?
If it's a Jesuit pope.
Explain that for those who aren't aware.
Well, the Jesuits have a history of being infiltrators. If you go back to the 16, 1700s, I think, when they were first initiated, they were designed to, I think it was the main body of the Jesuit order was to, when the Reformation happened and guys like Martin Luther decided to break away and create Protestantism, they created the Jesuit order to go into and infiltrate these other churches and bring people back to Catholicism. And so the Jesuit order was originally, I mean, I suppose it's kind of like a rescue. If you were to go pure religious, you're like, oh, that's the rescue. It's the rescue team. We're going to go to these churches and rescue and bring them back. But at the other end of it, you're like, why are you infiltrating and learning spy techniques? Anyways, oh, Rebecca Burton. That's,
yeah, I wasn't going to say that out loud.
If you're watching,
I'll say that loud. Yeah.
Come watch it. 52 minutes and 50 seconds.
But yeah, just like everything else out there, going back to my same old tiresome comments, is there's a lot of division, not just amongst the people and the left and right paradigm, but the churches, I mean, everywhere. And it's it's all being caused on purpose, in my opinion. It's all it's again, all world's a stage. So yeah. I think I keep that in mind, and I think it helps keep me sharp, right? It helps keep me on my toes. Okay, what's the purpose behind this and this? And maybe that makes me a little more of a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, I think it pays off nowadays to have that mindset.
It does. I agree. I think that it's better safe than sorry. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's usually an idiom you use for an object or a physical item, but I think the principle of that holds true with ideas and as well, with potential concepts like, people, what do they say? What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy fact? And it's 6 months or something like that. A few months. So yeah, just, it's funny because there's we've had him on the show, Eric Mutzos, a good friend of mine. He had a guy send him basically kind of a hater comment saying, hey, I'm a pilot. There's no such thing as cloud seeding. And then he's like, oh, really? And he showed a video of like the UK saying, we're cloud seeding all these people, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's another lady that posted, said, my husband's a pilot and for sure they're doing it. Like, that guy who clearly doesn't see what's right in front of him, or he's kept from it too. So there's some reasons to keep people from things so they can, counter it's Hegelian dialectic. It's controlled opposition. They control both sides. Yeah. Anyways,
there's actually a myth going around the web about chemtrails. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh, it's on fire right now. The Disney is going back and adding chemtrails to the blue skies in most of their old movies.
Yeah, I've seen.
I heard. Okay, I heard that.
It's getting a lot of traction. Whether it's true or not, I haven't tried to verify, but it's plausible. I mean, we're being lied to on so many fronts that would just be another one. But yeah, there's so many things are coming true and being proved that the conspiracy theorists were right. again and again and again. And it's been this really fun trend, which is also sad and horrifying that we've been right so many times. You know, I feel like it's basically since 2021. It's like, and this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and that is true, and this is.
Well, I think we just saw my closing topic here, closing comment is we just saw the ultimate signal in the markets to get out. Warren Buffett just retired, or he's retiring at 94. So,
which then answers why did he move everything to cash?
He's been in cash for a long time.
Right? He's been moving everything to cash for years, last few years, but in big jumps. Obviously, he's done with the markets. That's what everyone else is going to say is like, hey, now it's time to get in. But I'm glad I'm out. I've been out for a while. Yeah, I haven't enjoyed the rises and the falls, but I've had a lot more peace in my life because of it.
Yep. I sleep better.
Yeah, I've got a strategy. I'm going to be exiting myself slowly, and I got a strategy for it. So we'll see. Thankfully, I'm back to what even, and I'm actually a little bit up right now. So it's usually good to get out when you're up, not when you're down. Although there is a strategy for when you're down to get out, tax harvesting. There's a tax strategy for that. But then the IRS is a freaking whole nother topic we don't want to get into. We only got a couple minutes, but any last minute thoughts, guys? Scott, you said your last minute comment. Scott, you got anything to share last minute?
Man, I just wherever you live, whatever you're doing, do it the ready-minded way. Think about your future, prepare for it, plan for it, and just keep that head on a swivel. Because life's just weird and unpredictable. Yeah,
amen. My last minute thought is just as I close it out for all of us is that we've had a cornucopia, we had a menagerie of topics tonight, just because there's so much going on. There's so much to watch for. There's so much to look out for. But I think at the end of the day, if you just remember to stay true and faithful to the principles of ready-mindedness and preparedness, that whatever globalist or whatever Mother Nature or whatever anybody throws at you, you'll be able to weather the storm, whether it's you get laid off because you're in a group that's doing that, whether it's a natural disaster, it's an earthquake, whatever it is, do your best every day to do a little bit towards becoming more and more prepared. And if you do that, you'll be way better off than those who didn't. And I just leave you with that. You've been listening to Prepper Talk Radio for the Ready-Minded, the podcast for the prepared. We are signing off our live, and have a great day. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next one.
See you next week.
See you guys.